Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we're going to talk about emotional cheating and can emotional cheating be forgiven? We have a real breakup story on deck, another question about a situationship. If you have a question you want to send it in to writemac.com. We can get into it on this show. If you have a story you want to share, send it in to writemac.com. Let's get into it. So, emotional cheating is one of those things. It's definitely more apparent and common now because there's so much evidence everywhere with texting, with DMs, with instant messaging, with social media likes. And so, someone in the 1950s, maybe even the 1980s, before the internet and all these platforms were out there, if they were emotionally cheating at work or at a university, there wouldn't be a roadmap of breadcrumbs and evidence like there is now on the computer or on your phone. And so that changes a lot of things, because the hardest thing that people deal with is if it's in text or video, it's something that they can look at again and again, and it's factual. You read a text that insinuated someone wanted to hook up with your partner or take them out, and there's flirting going on. You can read that. There's nothing to, if someone says, yeah, there's someone I kind of like at work, I know I've been wrong about that, I just wanted to be upfront with you. It's totally different if someone reads texts or has you sending each other pictures of what they're doing, and now you have a totally different perspective of what's going on. It's very hurtful. Now there's other people that are just paranoid, anxious, needy, worried that you're going to cheat anyways, and those people look for emotional cheating. And with these social media platforms, someone's simply liking your picture with a heart or a thumbs up, someone somehow interprets that into, oh, you're emotionally cheating on me. That to me is a little extreme. Okay. And that's when you have to ask yourself, if my partner is a sociable person, is my partner someone that already is outgoing, vivacious, flirtatious when I met them? And if that's the case, you're going to kind of have to deal with that, because that's baked into who they are. All right. And so when you get into these things with emotional cheating, there's no rules here. Your friend might tell you, oh no, you can't put up with that. They can. What do you want to do? Make your own rules about emotional cheating. Everyone's different about it. And it's certainly different than when someone gets fully intimate, right? So number one, it's defined by what you define it to be. So let me explain that from him. Someone says, oh, my girlfriend emotionally cheated on me. Explain what happened. So they say, well, look, she's been posting these pictures, and this guy from her work keeps making comments, and then she likes the comments. It's obvious that they have something going on. To me, if I was in that relationship, my definition of that wouldn't be emotionally cheating. That might be a guy that's orbiting or trying to get at her or trying to get her attention in a passive way. I wouldn't be threatened by that, especially if we had a good, intimate relationship. If you're having regular sex with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you guys are seeing each other, things are going really well, and a couple guys at work like your girl's post, right? Where does she have the time to fit them in, right? You're going to have to deal with that when you're dating someone that's a catch, that has value. Now, at what point do you find it over the top? It's up to you to decide, but you better clear that up front, because there's going to be interactions going through with the relationship where you're going to have to define those boundaries, those fences that aren't to be crossed. And you can do that in the moment too. You're like, look, this relationship you got with Sal at work, I don't like it. Do you have to be texting each other every day? I don't like the way where this is coming from. So that starts the conversation. That doesn't mean that your girlfriend has to submit and be like, oh, let me show you everything. That starts the conversation. Hey, I don't like this. I don't like how often you guys have to text each other. I feel like it's outside of work. Can you explain what's going on here and why you guys are texting so much? Seek to understand, not to be understood. Get a little bit more information before you build that fence or boundary, but also be true to yourself. So what's out of line or out of order, put it in place. Now, if someone emotionally cheats, this has come up. I've had this occur with clients where they emotionally cheat and then they have a reason. They have a reason. Well, I emotionally cheated because they've been a jerk recently. I've emotionally cheated. I was talking to this other guy because, we haven't slept together in 2 months and I just feel like we're not going to be together for very long. Now, that is one of those things that, so why are you not going through with the breakup? Why are you leading him on? So basically what you're doing is 2 wrongs don't make a right. I'm going to go out around, I'm going to flirt with another guy. I'm going to keep some back burners on deck because I can see this relationship's not going to work. And the minute I find one of these contenders to be good, great, or grand, I can slide into a new relationship and I don't have to be alone. Okay. If you're going to do that, don't get pissed because what goes around comes around. That's not just a saying. If you live long enough, karma does prevail. You do get humbled in life. Some people, I don't believe in karma. You will get humbled though. You'll go, oh, many times I've said, have you ever done this to someone else? It's just like someone that says, oh, I never lie. Really? You've never lied in your life? Well, yeah, I have before. And then when someone lies to you, you got to look back at all the times you've lied. Have you ever met someone that's never lied in their life? Number 2, full-on cheating has intimacy, penetration, or some oral things going on. So there's a big difference. Wouldn't you agree? Now, some people are like, no, it's not different at all. They're the same thing. I feel like the reason I got a little graphic there and a little extreme with the penetration and oral things, it's much different than someone's texting and trying to flirt or trying to inch their way in. And here's the thing. I'm going to break this down. Whoever you're dating, whoever's your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, husband, wife, where they work, where they spend a lot of their time, if it's a place laced with temptation, it's going to be more difficult for you not to have an emotional cheating situation. Okay. Why is that? Now think about that for a minute. If someone's a bartender at a place that everyone's in their 20s, everyone's getting drunk, and dare I say that bartender's taking shots too, that's not a good place for your girlfriend to work. Not just because your friend, like maybe you think in the beginning, oh, she makes good money. And then when I want to go over there to drink, I'll get free shots and free drinks. This will be cool. No, not really. Because even if she's the best girlfriend in the world, you guys have been together for 3-4 years, she puts herself in that environment, it's going to be a lot more temptation. There's going to be more than emotional. There's going to be guys flirting with her all the time. Right? And you're like, well, no, she's loyal. We're married. We're this, we're that. All right. But at what point does some guy walk in and she's starstruck and she's like, whoa. And she's had a couple shots because it's part of her job. And she goes home with the guy. So a lot of times, emotional cheating or regular cheating, it is directly tied to where they're spending a lot of their time, i.e. work. Okay. Number 3, why is it so common now? Evidence is everywhere. So what do I mean by that? Emotional cheating is going to be extremely common these days because of text messaging, discords, social media. It's all recorded. Okay. And so in the past, you literally would have to get like a phone tap on someone, right? You'd have to do some things that only the police had access to. Now, someone can find your password to your phone. And I'm going to tell you right now, this might shock some people. I've been doing this for over 5 years. The amount of people that tell me that they know their partner's password to their phone, but it wasn't given to them. So they watched their partner, get on their phone and they scanned for the numbers that they chose. And they've known it for a long time. And they check their partner's phone secretly, regularly. And even when they see something about emotional cheating, they don't say anything. They just keep a track of it. Very, very common. And so people nowadays, when they tell me, because I have some regular clients that aren't just in a breakup that talk to me, when they tell me, oh, I've been talking to this guy or I've been talking to this girl that, I know it's wrong or this or that, and I'm still living with my boyfriend, I say, look, they're going to find out. I don't know when they're going to find out, but if you live together, they're going to find out, because this is what happens. You aimlessly start, people notice body language more than anything else. Okay. And if the way you're texting is, and you're really into it, they just get a emotional cheating red flag in their face. Like, oh, what is this feeling? Oh, you keep going back to your phone over and over again and having these smiled faces and whatnot. And then they go and find a way to get into your phone and check what was so interesting. It just happens all the time. And then once they get the evidence, if you think about emotional cheating too, if there's no evidence, right? It's like, oh yeah, Claudia at work, yeah, she talks to me a lot. She might like me. Now, Claudia from work has a series of texts in my phone, right? And my girlfriend checks the phone, and all these texts she can examine and dissect. Totally different. So the evidence has never been bigger to qualify someone for emotional cheating, right? Now, emotional cheating can be, like I said before, could be part of someone's personality. Okay. Number 4, if you're close to your partner, they will find out. I've already said that. Number 5, people will react differently. Okay. So there's no rules to emotional cheating. There's no guidelines. You just got to be true to yourself in the sense that, what do I really want? And what do I expect from my partner? There's a line to it. There's certainly some people out there that it doesn't bother them at all. They're highly secure and they feel like, someone's going to try to hit on my girlfriend. Someone's going to try to get in that space, and they're not a threat. Now, interesting enough, when you have intuition on your partner like this, sometimes you're wrong. So it's really up to you on how you want to react to it. If you're really laid back about it. And ironically, a lot of partners out there, they get upset when someone doesn't react, actually, that you don't get jealous. It can be forgiven, but maybe, number 6, it can be forgiven, but maybe not let go of. Now, let me explain that, because it's very important. It's in the back pocket at all times. So if there's any arguments, they just take it out of the back pocket and they go, remember this? Remember these texts? And they just bring it up again. It's very convenient. It's a way to win the argument. So you think like, I thought we got past that. I thought we hooked up and we had makeup sex. I thought you forgave me for it. And I never hooked up. So like, what's the big deal? No, they forgave you in the moment, or appeared to, but they didn't let it go, because now it's an asset to them in an argument. And certain people love assets in arguments. Okay. So if that occurs, a lot of times, if you feel like, if you're guilty and you're like, I'm sorry, I was wrong, sometimes the other person, it's not enough, and they'll want you to walk over broken glass. They'll go for the kneecaps. They want you to hurt, because when they read those texts, it hurt them. So they want to hurt you. It's not a good way to go, but it is the way that a lot of people go. So a lot of times when there's emotional cheating, you need to take a few steps back and get your space and really assess how bad this is. And if you really are going to forgive them. Okay. If you really have the ability to let it go. Number 7, it changes the relationship in phone checking. So let's say you get caught emotionally cheating. The other person's like, I know you were talking. They're going to want to check your phone more. They're going to trust you less. They're going to be more insecure. Now, certain relationships, this could be something where the other person goes, it's time for me to step up. You've been emotionally cheating, so maybe I've done something wrong, and maybe we need to reunite and reassess how much effort we're putting in this relationship. That's best case scenario, right? Sometimes something bad has to happen to spark something good happening, to spark the value of what relationship you're actually in. But it definitely will change the relationship. They will want to check your phone more. They will accuse you of more things, right? So if you're going to go on in one of these relationships, don't be upset when they keep bringing it up, or they want to check your phone, or they're more insecure. Now, how long that lasts? 6 months, a year, 2 years? I don't know how much you could put up with. The important thing is, if you, quote unquote, emotionally cheated, do you agree? I ask this question a lot in coaching sessions. Do you agree? What do you mean? Do you agree that what they're accusing you of is emotional cheating? Well, not really. Then it's going to be a problem, because if you don't accept the way they see it, seek to understand, not to be understood, You're going to have nothing but conflict because you're going to go, it's not even nothing. It's not even nothing. It's not even nothing. There was a client of mine a couple years back, and he was active on, I think it was a gaming or a sports Discord with a lot of people during COVID, I believe it was. He had a girlfriend for 2.5, 3 years. They lived together. And this guy was like beside himself sorry. Now, here's the thing. Him and this girl were sexting. They weren't sending pictures, but they were sending lewd, dirty comments to each other. And they never met up. They lived in different states. It was completely playful. He admitted that it was wrong and over the top. His girlfriend was absolutely, utterly crushed. She was upset because there was like months of these dirty texts, right? But he's like, we never met up. We never hooked up. So for him, like if that happened to him, it wasn't as big a deal. She didn't believe him because of all the dirtiness in the text, right? So she ended up contacting the girl. The girl was like, no, we didn't hook up. It took them 4 or 5 months to get back together. It took him another couple months to get past walking on broken glass, but he was willing to do it because he wanted to fight for the relationship. They hadn't had problems before. It made him appreciate her more. Sometimes a situation like this, the tension's needed. So someone steps the fuck up and goes, you know what? I want to fucking be in this relationship. I don't want to end this over some fucking dirty text with a random at work. On the flip side, if someone's sitting there over and over again defending, well, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Well, what you got to realize is when you're in a partnership with your partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever, you got to compromise on some things. Just because you don't see it as bad, they do. And if it happened to you, would you be upset? I think most people, when it's text evidence-based emotional cheating, when it's text evidence-based, when someone can look at the text, it's really hard to turn back from that compared to, I heard you on the phone with Joe and it seems like you guys have been talking a lot. That's way different than seeing actual texts that are beyond just flirting. All right, I'll get into the questions. We got 7 on deck. I do have a couple stories. I'll get into that in a moment. We got Rye Flint. We got a female all-star cast on the comments so far. You are welcome. Sam Lujan, how are you? Still waiting for you to book that hypnotherapy session. And if you want to book a session, go to rightmac.com. Check that out. Mac, my savior, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. You have to respect your partner's privacy regardless if you are sus on them or not. Suspect, I suppose. Going through a phone isn't okay. I haven't had this happen to me very often in my own relationships. I would say if you're that compelled to check someone's phone because their behavior's off, it's pretty much the beginning of the end a lot of times. So someone might be suspicious. I would say that there's a lot of people out there that would lie because they don't want to hurt the other person. And with the access of the phone always being around, the temptation to check someone's phone for a lot of people is always going to be there. And I would say that more than 50 to 60% of relationships, people are checking their partner's phones. I don't have any evidence. I don't have any case studies on that. I'm just going on 5 years as a breakup coach, hearing people repeatedly tell me she doesn't know that I actually have the code and I check her messages regularly. Happens all the time. Okay. So you might as well anticipate it and change your code a little bit more regular. That being said, if you're not doing anything wrong, so let's say someone falsely accuses you of something they assume is emotional cheating on their spectrum, well, then you could say, you know what? It's curtains. I'm not going to put up with that. I'm not going to defend myself for something that's not true. Now, if you get found out and you've been talking to someone else, then you got to speak up for that. They checked your phone. It's not cool. It's not something I do. It's a character issue. Yeah, sure. But if they find what they suspected, is it validated? Depends on what you two decide. If someone sits there and they're guilty and they're like, I can't believe you checked my phone. I can't believe you checked my phone. It's like, yeah, and you had dick pics with your guy at work and you're pissed that I checked your phone. Let's get back to what you're guilty of here. right? So I think if someone's checking your phone regularly and you haven't done anything wrong, there's a real problem there. Rosanna, how are you? Petty Betty, how you doing? Why is he talking dirty to some other girl and not his girlfriend? What happens is people get in these discords, these chats, or work talk, and it's not planned. It's not necessarily something that they're looking for. Sometimes it just happens, right? And some people, like I said, they're looking at it in the moment as something fun and playful, and you as a couple need to define what's too far. Why do some guys do this? Why do some women do it? There's plenty of funny thing about emotional cheating. Just as many women do it as men. Same with cheating. There's not more men cheating than women cheating, because who are the men cheating with? Who are the women cheating with? So the idea that more men cheat at anything or it's more common isn't true. Okay. Some people are better at keeping it a secret. I would say that women are better at keeping it a secret. No more trust anymore. Rosanna, I wouldn't say that all the time. I would just say that emotional cheating is one of those things that's probably going to come up in a 2023 relationship with all these social media minefields and people really attached to, you liked his post, right? Those kinds of things. So it's a conversation to have at some point. And then from there, when you have that conversation or someone gets caught doing something you don't want, what's the next step to improve so that doesn't happen again? Petty Betty says, that's cheating. No more trust anymore. It's a character issue. The girlfriend became familiar. Could be. I'm kind of flirty when I talk, but I don't flirt with other people's man. And that's an interpretation. So, whenever guys that are really jealous, don't go to public places then. If you have a good-looking girlfriend, if you have a girlfriend that has certain things about her that are eye-catching, sorry, if you go to a public place and there's multiple men there, you're going to catch guys taking a look, making sweet eyes, whether that's right or wrong or they should respect you. It's just fucking reality. So you're going to have to deal with that when you go into public. Now, your girlfriend has to be loyal enough to not cross that line and give sweet eyes back or give that guy, 20 minutes of private conversation in the corner while you're in the bathroom. That's a different tier level, right? A world full of cheaters. I think it's always been a world full of cheaters. I think that cheating's been going on since the beginning of time. And it's more than half the population of the world's doing it. From my standpoint of doing this for 5 years, is it right? Is it wrong? It's up to the people in the relationship how to define that. It is. Because some people can forgive, some people can overcome it, some people can allow it. The list goes on. And so you need to define that. And then when you're filtering for a new partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, just make sure, all right, I want someone extremely loyal. And you can identify those traits. You can identify those traits when you date, right? And you might have to trade off. Okay, so you want someone that's really loyal and trustworthy. You might have someone that's a little bit more conservative, less outgoing, maybe someone that's more introverted. I'm not saying this for everyone, but there might be some characteristics about that person that you wish were a little bit different. But the idea that you're like, actually, I know that they're completely loyal and trustworthy. Now, if you take that as your number one or your number two, when you're filtering, you might have to give up. You might have to give in to some other things. So, for example, someone that's more adventurous, they like to travel a lot. They like to do extreme sports. They go, kite surfing. They do all these crazy things. Sorry to tell you, they're more likely to cheat. They like to take risks. They like new things. Okay. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. Doesn't mean they're all cheaters, but they're just going to be more adverse to that. Someone that's had, gets a lot of attention at their job from whoever they're trying to pursue, you know, just like ball players or movie stars, they're going to be more apt to cheat. Everyone puts them in the tabloids. Oh my God. So it's like they have to turn down hundreds of people, right? They're going to be more apt to cheat. So there's certain things, certain jobs where people are less likely to cheat because they're involved in less temptation. All right. I recently found my friend quit working out to spend more time with his girlfriend. Problem is they eat a lot of unhealthy food. So what business is it of yours, Odd Carlo? You're really worried about his waistline? I think working out, whatever it is, if the girlfriend pushed him to do that, he could redo his schedule probably. My question would be, is the girlfriend someone that doesn't work out, values unhealthy food, and now she wants him to sit in the same thing? You know, from afar, let him do his thing. You know, he's a big boy. He wants to eat a lot of unhealthy food. Fine. It'll catch up with him, and he'll probably have to go back to the gym. But I've heard of this in relationships where someone in the partnership doesn't work out and the other person does, and the other person that doesn't work out gives them shit. Oh, you just like going to the gym. Oh, you're obsessed with it. It's like, if you got someone where there's certain things that are so non-negotiable. If someone's giving you shit about something that's good, like working out, exercise, eating healthy, you should really reassess the relationship, right? If they smoke cigarettes and you don't, and they keep trying to push you to have a cigarette, huge red flag. At some point, they're going to win that argument. They're a bad influence on you, and your partner does influence you, by the way. And if I have a boyfriend, I'm super professional. About what? Professional at work? You're right, Mac. I love those words. I agree, Mac. It's wrong in God's eyes, but these people that don't care what God thinks, but I do. Well, there you go. Live by your morals and standards. Create some filters that when you date, that you want someone that's extremely loyal without question. And you can do that. Don't give into it. Living dangerously. All right, so let's get into the stories today. We got 7 on deck. Super chats are welcome. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions or comments, please put them down below, and I'll get to them in a moment. Hello, Coach. I've got a situationship right now. I've been in my relationship for over 2 years. We live together, get along pretty well. There's one problem I feel like burns at me, and I mean a slow burn. We don't have great conversations. Our interests are very different. She can be dumb when it comes to certain topics. My career stirs up a lot of stimulating academic type conversations. So are you an academic? Yet she's most excited about watching a drama series or taking pictures of food, or when she tells me about her day, there's really not any high points. I find myself listening as I'm a good listener, but her perspective on things just can be extremely low intelligence. All right, so that's going to be a problem right there because you're looking down on her. And if you're looking down on her as if you're highly intelligent and she's not, which is possible, you can embrace that. That can also be a benefit in the sense that when you want to release from these academic, intense type conversations, that you have someone that's more easygoing, simplistic, laid back, and that might be a good thing for you. Because if you were in these academic debates at home with your wife or your girlfriend all the time, you'll never get a break, right? And then if you guys don't agree on these academic things, it's going to be actually more detrimental. So I don't know if you find that as a bad thing, you can also look at it as a positive. Outside of that, she's loyal and she loves me and she's a good girlfriend. I guess the other problem is that I'm not highly attracted to her. I give her a 6 out of 10, which I'm fine with. But sometimes when she gets home, she immediately gets into her favorite sweatpants and oversized t-shirt, and it's just a turn off. Well, just a heads up, I've had multiple relationships where once you start living together with your girlfriend, they do get into a mode where you're going to see them 24 hours a day when they're sick, when they're not looking their best, when they're, when their eyebrows are off, and they're going to look different, and you're going to look different too. If you're upset that it's just too frequent, I've had a client in the past where his girlfriend, I believe she was some kind of doctor, emergency doctor or something like that, where she was working really heavy hours. And he was like, I wish you just dressed better. And I was like, well, what? She's casual too much? And he's like, she only wears sweatpants or scrubs, like at the hot, like when she's off. She never dresses nice. So if that's the case, I understand that's a little extreme. If when she gets home, she's always in her favorite sweatpants and oversized t-shirt and it's just a turnoff, you could certainly say something about that, or you could buy her some new gear, right? That's something that can be improved. I don't know if she would take that so personal, and maybe it's just habitual. That's actually something that could be fixed. I'm not telling you need to go out and buy her lingerie, but if you want a little pair of shorts or something like that, like where she could just like meet you halfway on that, that's something that's doable that she probably won't be offended on. So you might want to have that conversation. Telling her she's dumb would be not a great conversation, probably. I really do think she's got great qualities for a long-term partner. Those are just the ones that bother me. All right, so I've mentioned this many times before. It's always a trade-off. And with trade-offs, you're like, she's loyal, she's a good girlfriend. On a scale of 1 to 10, she's a 6. But she's dumb. It's like, well, looking at all those things, how much can you deal with the dumbness, right? Have you had this problem before in other relationships where you found the other person not as intelligent as you? So if you're ranking intelligence, well, then maybe you have to filter for someone else. But telling her she's dumb, that's just wrong. Because anyone that you find to be dumb, they're probably smarter than you at a few things. You just are rating them based on what you're good at or what you're smart at, and that's ignorant. I really do think I really do think she's got great qualities for a long-term partner. Those are just ones that bother me. This was elevated recently that when I had a former colleague contact me whom is about 12 years younger than me, and I'm 39. Do the math, bud. Anyhow, she used to give me sweet eyes at work. Let me read this again. This was recently elevated when I had a former colleague contact me. Okay, former colleague, probably in academia, contact me whom is about 12 years younger than me, and I'm 39. All right, so 27. How good's my math? Do the math. Anyhow, she used to give me sweet eyes at work, and I had a crush on her. Okay, but it was one I never acted on because I don't date people at work, and I was in a relationship. But 3 days ago, I went to dinner with her just to catch up, and I won't lie, I'd love to date her if I had the opportunity. We had a good dinner. She's currently single, and I know she won't be single long, as she's got it all. Well, just keep in mind, knowing her as a coworker, and knowing her as someone you date, and now that you said that it's been a few years since you met up, you don't know that she has it all. Okay, that's just what you know from the facade. She might be someone that comes home and gets in sweatpants and a t-shirt too. So there's more to be revealed, and like I always say, it's a discovery mission. So yeah, if you were single again and you wanted to make space to go out with her again, go for it. The idea that if you break up with this girl is going to be everything, I think you're putting her on a pedestal, and you don't know her that well, because having someone as a colleague, even if you rub elbows a lot and see each other every day, is much different than having them as a girlfriend. Now, yesterday, I just had an intimate dream about her, and I keep thinking about her. Well, that's called infatuation. It's called attraction. It happens to a lot of people. The topic of this show is emotional cheating. I wouldn't say that's emotional cheating. I would just say that, you have feelings for her. Now's the point. You're at a crossroads. What are you going to do next, right? I feel like I'd love to date this other woman. I'm not sure how receptive she would be, as she just broke up with her ex 5 weeks ago, and they had been together for 5 years. All right, so that's a bit of a minefield, some red flags there. Yeah, if she's a total catch, she's not going to be single for long. So people come across this a lot. They go, oh, wow, monkey branching, rebounding. People don't monkey branch and rebound that are really good catches. Highly attractive people have options out of a breakup, and they will pivot within 2, 3, 4 months and get into a new relationship. The fact that she's 5 weeks out of that, 5 years before, there's going to be some wreckage on the road, some comparisons to you. And so I wouldn't just shelve your girlfriend just to go try to date this girl. There's a lot of uncertainty there. I'm wondering if I'm getting this strong feelings for another woman. Does that mean I should let my girlfriend go and really start pursuing someone that checks more boxes? Because in this relationship, I always feel like something isn't complete or right. Like we don't line up. Like I can do better. What's holding me back? I don't know what's holding you back, but usually it's a fear of loneliness. So just like, and this happens to a lot of people. People are probably watching the stream right now going, oh God, this guy's such a jerk. He should just let her go. It's not that simple, right? The reality is people get this feeling a lot and stay in the relationship, and that's okay, right? You're human. You're going to have interest in other people while you're still with someone. Now, how you handle that is up to you. Now, you have this deep interest, this almost infatuation with her. What's holding you back is a lack of certainty. And just like if you had a job, right? It would be more ideal to find another job before you quit the current job, because you need the money, because you like the schedule and the certainty and the stability of work. It's the same thing with a relationship. A lot of times you don't know it, but people would rather glide into another relationship out of an old one than have to sit in no man's land for 3-4 months. So what's holding you back? Comfort. What's your opinion? Well, if you wrote comfort, that's probably what it is. Familiarity is probably what it is. You're going to have to bet on yourself, have the balls, gusto, and courage to, if you really think you can do better, fucking prove it. Right? If you don't think you guys line up, because you're not having enough academic conversations and whatnot like that, and you could do better, then go for it. Prove it. I don't think you break up with her just for this girl that you like and don't know what future holds with her. You break up with this girl now because you believe that you want to open up some space so that when opportunities like this come up where someone's single that you're interested in, there's no turbulence, there's no uncomfortableness. You can just date them. And so that's you having to take some inventory about your confidence in yourself. And I'd also add, like, if you consider her dumb and unintelligent, you're probably imposing that into the relationship, and that's not healthy for her. So I'd strongly consider letting her go for her well-being too, to find someone that appreciates the fact that she's a good girlfriend, that she's loyal. There's a lot of guys out there that would line up for something like that. There's a lot of guys out there that aren't looking for academic kind of conversations with their girlfriend. So I hope that helps you. All right, one more story on deck, or a situation. He just thinks he found a better girl until he sees her in her trackies. It's so different when you live together, right? Because everyone, it gets real quick. You're like, oh, left the door open in the bathroom. Can you close it? Don't waste the girl's time, says the great Riflin. It is 12:11 over here, not 1:11, but we'll make a wish for you. All right, let's get back to the next one. If you guys or anyone else out there watching this, if you have a question or you want to book a session, go to rightmac.com. All sessions are refundable if you don't find them useful or helpful moving forward. Okay. Hey, Coach, I got a question on emotional cheating. That was our topic today. At what point is it toxic? I've been texting a coworker for a couple months, and she's got issues with her current boyfriend, a guy I've actually met a couple times, and I think he's a solid dude. Yet she drops all her problems with him on me, and then makes a few flirtatious comments, which I like. And truth be told, I've got a girlfriend too, but I know this relationship I'm in will probably end soon. We've just had constant issues this last year. And the main reason we are still together is that she can't sort out her living situation. I'm not going to go throw her out on the streets, as the condo we are in is I own. That being said here, I'm being there for this woman, but I got to be honest, I wouldn't mind hooking up with her if things went full breakup with her boyfriend. But I also know that she isn't a loyal girlfriend. So I'm not sure with all the info she gives me that I'd ever see her anything more than a hookup. All right. So this is an interesting situation because there are times where they're going to break up. There's a bunch of issues, but the living situation keeps them melded together. So I've seen this happen before. So I believe him when he says, like, we're probably going to break up eventually. We just got to sort out this living situation. On the flip side, what this woman's doing with you with dumping her problems and then making a few flirtatious comments, she's getting validated. She's getting your advice, but she's also lining you up too, possibly. So you look at it like I'm kind of lining her up for a hookup and she's kind of lining me up for a hookup. The idea that she's talking to a guy on the side and flirting with him while she has a boyfriend and you say he's a solid dude. Now, for me, once you shook that guy's hand, man code, you broke bread with him, you had a conversation, you introduce yourself, and now you're going to go behind his back and try to mess with his girlfriend. It's pretty low, dude. Low integrity. So what I would say at some point is you could cut this and you go, look, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to talk to you about these things anymore. You probably get a therapist or talk to another friend. I don't know what my situation is going to be like in another month or 2 months because we got a lot of trouble in my own relationship. But when I am single, and if you were single, maybe we could date at that time. I'd be open to that. Say something to that regard. You don't need to say exactly what I said, but you get the idea. And you're already like, this would just be a hookup. Okay, I'm okay with that. There's probably a lot of people like, oh, it's just a hookup. Oh, that's it. Whatever. That's your thing. So what I would do is stop listening to the comments and the flirting until you break up. Now, she can continue to do this with you for days. I've seen clients I've talked to where, a woman likes to have a guy like this on the side that she can dump all her stuff on. And then also have that like backup idea that maybe we can hook up down the road, right? You're validating her. So I'm not sure with all the info she gives me that I've ever seen anything more than a hookup. Should I just break ties with her and tell her I don't think it's a good idea we keep talking if you're in a relationship? I think that would be one route to go. That would be good. The fact that, and by the way, if you do become single again, don't limit yourself to this woman that basically the reason why you're pursuing this is it's comfortable, it's available, it's there. But if you become single again, I don't know what happened with your current relationship, you got your own condo, then embrace being single without this woman being a target. Because what she did to this guy, she'll do to you. She'll be talking to other guys too. So if you just want to hook up with her, it's still not great because you work together. So it's bad all around, right? Now, if you want to listen to her problems because you're just a good dude, because that's what you do and you're a therapeutic type like myself, it's kind of what you do, fine. But you're not going to really make a move until you're single, and you're not really going to make a move when she's still with this guy. So I would say leave it alone for now, right? Leave it alone for now. And if you do become single, this isn't the one to hook up with or pursue. So if you are going to let her talk to you regularly, then do it because it's your pleasure, not because there's some silver lining there at the end of the road where you might be able to get a little piece of pie. I mean, she just started sending me. Okay, so should I just break up with her and tell her I don't think it's a good idea? Break ties with her and tell her I don't think it's a good idea we keep talking if you're in a relationship. I mean, she just started sending me pics of her looking good and then asking flirtatious stuff. All right, so now she's crossing a little different dimension. I like the attention, but is she leading me on? I don't know what to make of it. Well, if she's with someone and you're taking it as, it depends on how you interpret it. If you interpret it as she's leading you on, then she is. If you have to ask that question, then you maybe feel that way. Because both of you don't have the ability just to go meet up, have dinner, maybe have a drink or two, and then go back to someone's place and actually see what happens, right? So until that happens, you're allowing yourself in this situation. And if you think like, oh, I'm being led on, then be a little smarter. Reread your story right there. You have power and choice in this situation. So, and ask yourself, what's my intentions of listening to her problems? Do I have this hidden agenda, or do I really just want to help her because she's a coworker? Be honest with yourself about that question. I think that'll reveal a lot. Well, it sounds like Petty Betty says, well, he sounds not really loyal either. Who is he to judge? Ha, ha, ha. Well, there you go. All right, this has been good. It's been grand. I wasn't going to come on too long today. I got an appointment in about 10 minutes. Never put your, let me just get back to this. So men really care about a woman's style. I'm sorry, I missed some of these comments. I think a lot of men care about a woman's style. Never put your partner down. That's a good way to live by. There you go. Nothing to do with the current girl. Yeah, there you go. All right. You are appreciated. Thank you, Sam Lujan, Petty Betty, Rye Flint, Rosanna, Odd Carlo. Keep being odd, but sometimes be positive. It's been good. Take care. Don't emotionally cheat.